Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Nightshade here, alongside my good friend Joj. Joj, how's it going?
It's going, man. It's going. I'm excited for this next series. It's a PvP, which I haven't casted today, and it's always nice to have something new and fresh.
Actually, there's been a lot of PvP. Not sorry, I know that's been a long day for you. You've had work in the morning. You're jumping into the tournament in the afternoon to help us with casting as well. By the way, I cannot thank you enough for doing so. It's really nice to be able to work with you again. PvP has been a pretty common theme that we've been running with this tournament. There's a lot of Protoss in it. We're now getting down to where there's one Zerg left, obviously, and now these two Protoss players. They actually played earlier on today. Desra was able to take both games and actually knocked Bones down into the losers bracket, and now they meet again. So this is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, this is really interesting, and there is a probe that was sent from the original 6 or 7 probes that's at his opponent's base with a pylon.
Oh,
This is
oh,
weird.
oh! Please say cannon rush.
No, there's
No,
no
proxy
force.
gates. Yeah, proxy
It's
gates.
going to be proxy gates.
Cheese. I love it.
Oh, and a lag.
And some lag. It's all good. Um, it's fixed. We're good. We're good. Uh, oh, this is just too good. I can't wait. This is going to be exciting. I think Desro knows that he needs to win, but he needs to be careful with this probe. I think, yeah, he gets it out of here in time. That's good. It sneaks it right on, and he's going to send it back. This is actually a pretty smart choice on his part, because then he'll be able to get the additional income coming in off of that probe. So
This is interesting. I'm not sure what this is supposed to accomplish because it's not coming down like crazy early. It's just 15 seconds earlier than the gateway of his opponent. Ooh. Oh, he sees it. He sees it. Bones is going to be like, "What are you doing, man? That's in my base. What do you think you're going to accomplish with that?"
yeah. How is he going to handle this, though? That's the real question, because even if Bones is prepared for it, he knows it's coming. He just has to defend against it well. Desro, if he plays it poorly or doesn't do it as well as maybe he would want to, Bones. I mean, this can go both ways. Bones can still lose this. He's going to throw it down Cybernetic core like normal. Okay. Desro is not doing that just quite yet because this has been a little bit delayed. So, I mean, this could go both ways. Desro could still be successful with this, despite the fact that that Bones knows about it.
Yeah, it's really all going to come down to his probe micro because there's going to be a zealot coming out from his opponent right now. It's out of the map, and so it's just going to come down to that probe micro. They're both chrono boosting more zealots out, but I really feel like this isn't going to do what Desro wanted. This is looking pretty bad for Desro, I feel like.
Yeah, and he's dedicating a lot of chrono boost to that gateway to try and get these zealots out so that he can actually be able to affect a bit more damage. But like you said, Bones with really good micro. Just taking a look at his hands, holy smokes, 370 peeking out as his APM. So yeah, Bones doesn't look like he's having any major problems with his micro right now.
Yeah, and here comes the first Stalker, is about to finish for his opponent, and Desro knows, he says, okay, I just gotta engage because otherwise I'm not gonna get anything done because there's gonna be a Stalker out. Right now, 4 workers have been killed for Desro. That's nice. I don't know that it's everything that Desro wanted it to be, though.
No, I don't think Desro is too happy about it, and the investment that he expended is certainly going to be negated in a short moment once this Stalker heads on out towards that gateway and kills it off, along with that pylon. So, Bones definitely coming out ahead, I think, on this. We'll be able to check in just a minute what the loser stuff. Right now, Bones is looking a little bit behind because of the fact that he lost a couple of probes. I think, yeah, he lost 8 probes in total. So Desro is going to have the worker count advantage, 4 additional workers over his opponent. But I don't think it's going to be, all in all, it's going to be that bad. I think, but he does have a knack of making these things work. So as you can see, he's trying to take care of that gateway, get it killed off. Well, you know it, rather the pylon. But the Stalker that is working, coming onto that gateway has popped. So I think we're back to square one again.
Yeah, this actually worked out surprisingly well for Desro. I was really expecting him to take a lot more damage, I guess. But he did a lot more damage than I expected. He got 8 kills, and with that last Zealot even, I think he just got 4 on that one Zealot. That's pretty incredible. Desro is throwing down 2 more gateways back at home, and he kind of needs to since he lost that one production back at the natural of Bones. Bones going to be working on picking that off. There is a probe from Bones in the natural of Desro, kind of just keeping an eye on the possible expansion timings, maybe see if there's any crazy onions by ducking into the base in a little while. And I really like that. That's thorough. That's a really smart play. But both sides kind of sitting back for now. Just now is Desro declaring his tech choice. It's going to be a robotics facility.
Yeah, it's a good choice, I think, as it sits right now. He knows that Bones is bringing in more Stalkers than anything else. Obviously, he instigated that for the most part with his attack, forces Bones to go with Stalkers. Maybe Bones will continue with it. And by doing so, Robotics Facility is a good choice in going with that. And he's, of course, going to expand very, very quickly behind it. And this is something that he's did in the previous matches. He applies a little bit of early aggression, gets Bones to play defensively, and then expands very, very quickly behind it. With that being said, a little bit of aggression is coming by the way of Bones and these 4 Stalkers.
Yeah, I think these 4 Stalkers can probably force a cancel on this natural expansion. There is the Mothership Core, and so Desro is going to be trying to utilize that to the best of his ability. But there's only 2 gates for Desro, and there's 3. Well, there's 1 right now for Bones, but 2 more coming up behind it. So if this base does not get up for Desro, he could be in a little bit of trouble later on. Yeah, good force fields.
They're not bad. That forward pylon of his is going to finish up in about 4 seconds. And so he'll be able to warp in a pile of reinforcements as well as that warp gate is literally finishing up in about 4 seconds as well. Follow-up pylon as well, just in case for Bones. So, but Bones looking very, very strong here.
Yeah, I really feel like this is Desro taking a little bit of a gambit. He's gambling pretty hard on making this Nexus go up because he doesn't have a ton of production behind this. If that Nexus doesn't go up, I feel like this lead that Bones has in the army can snowball. But as soon as that Nexus goes up, Photon Overcharge can save the day, and it might come out. Bones is kind of waiting.
I think Desro is too. He's not overreacting with that Photon Overcharge. He has a Mothership Core ready to go just in case he needs to, but he's not using it quite yet. I'm not sure why he's not choosing to. I think he wants to get there it goes. Okay, so he is going to be able to use it, and it's a smart decision on his part. Just try and save it as long as humanly possible. But now Desro has an Immortal, and this is going to change things a great deal for Bones.
Yeah, I feel like now that this expansion is out, Bones has lost his timing to do a ton of damage. There's only 3 gates out on the map for Bones. Bones, I feel like his best bet, with only 1 gas and no expansion, I feel like his best bet might be to spray on some additional gates and go for an all-in as soon as that Photon Overcharge expires. But with Immortals out, Desro is going to be really hard to break.
In fact, almost impossible. These Immortals do such an amount of damage against Stalkers because Stalkers are an armored unit, and Immortal gets a bonus against armored, a very sizable one at that. It goes from a 20 per shot normally to 50, which is it's a huge jump. It's well over 100%. So when you're trying to engage with the Stalkers, and of course, looks like the Stalkers of Bones are going to focus fire down the Immortal, but he's going to lose so many Stalkers in doing so. And in fact, the Immortal is able to back on out here, and Bones is not going to win in that engagement. I don't suspect he's going to just GG and quit right away. He's going to try to make this work, but that was not the engagement he was looking for.
No, definitely not. And actually, you can take a look back at Bones' base. He's thrown down a natural expansion, and he's throwing down a Stargate. And I don't expect this is for Phoenixes at all. This is a little bit too late in the game for Phoenixes. I'm expecting this is for Void Rays. He's going to try and cut the Robo out entirely and say, I'm behind, I've got to cut a corner somewhere. We're going to cut the Robo and go straight to Void Rays and have a strong army eventually and hope Desro doesn't push. But Desro is pushing, and there's 2 Immortals, a bunch of Stalkers. This is looking pretty bleak for Bones.
Yeah, there's a big pile of Angry coming towards Bones, and Desro is at the controls of it. And indeed, Desro is pushing on back. He instigated with some cheese. Bones countered with a fairly good 3-gate, I guess, it's called the 3-gate. It's not quite a 4-gate, but it's a 3-gate all in. Didn't work out for him, and now Bones is going to have to defend with, I don't know what. He doesn't have a lot of units. Nice force field on the ramp. That's going to save the day for just a short period of time. Void Ray is on the way out. It is being chrono boosted. It's not enough, I don't think. There's a lot of Stalkers here who can shut it down very quickly. Mothership Core for Desro backing up everything. Probes pulled out the line and a big GG from Bones, and that'll do it.
Yeah, Bones knew that there was not even really any point to continuing on with that defense. He says, you know what, okay, I'm just going to save that brain space for the next game, and I'm going to dedicate my energy to not losing in that one.
Yep, exactly. That's a good choice by him. You don't want to drag yourself out. That'll actually demoralize you a bit. It's better to accept it very quickly. Put in an honest, legitimate effort. Like, don't give it up super fast. Don't, excuse me for saying, don't be like Idra and just GG fast, but or not even, and just get out. But I mean, you should try. But at the same token, when you see that you're done, you definitely hit the GG button. Move on to the next game, gather your bearings, and take it. So, good game on the part of Bones. Just not the best engagements, unfortunately, for him with that Immortal. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to how this next game is going to go. I believe they're. I'm not sure what the next map is going to be, but
it's
this should be interesting.
Yeah, it's loser's choice. So Bones will get to pick the next map, and I'm hopefully he picks a good one because he needs to come back into this if he plans on continuing on in this tournament. But Desro definitely the favorite here.
Yeah, and actually, I was looking back on the brackets previous to when I came on. It looks like Desro and Bones had played before, and Desro won pretty convincingly.
Yes, he did.
Bones is going to be frustrated with that loss. That's a really frustrating thing to lose to. Proxy Gate feels so incredibly ridiculous. But what Desro has done, in addition to kind of pissing off his opponent, Desro has said, look at me. Look how crazy I'm willing to play. You cannot cut any corners in the early game or I will kill you. And so Bones is going to have to play really standard, really straight up. And I'm not sure that Bones has the mechanical chops to deal with Desro in a straight up game.
Oh, we'll see. Stick around, guys and girls. We are going to go into game number 2 in just a moment. We've got to run a quick commercial break, and we will be back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Sorry about the commercial. Well, I'm not so sorry about the commercial break. It's important to get the sponsors the recognition that they deserve, especially when they're supporting WCG Canada, for which I cannot be thankful enough, to be perfectly frank. MSI, provider of some amazing equipment, both laptops, video cards, and in fact, actually, if memory serves me correctly, I'm actually running one right now. And we're going to be jumping into the game here. This is a loser's pick match. That's basically how it goes, is that the first map is always selected. Second map is, and the third, of course, if it goes that far, is the choice of the loser. And joining me is Joj. Joj, I'm very happy to have you on here. It's a pity that we couldn't have you earlier, but you certainly made it in the nick of time for all the good stuff.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. I got to come back and cast some Grandmaster versus Grandmaster action. Some awesome Clarity Gaming guys played, and now we're on to a PvP between Desro and actually Clarity Gaming Bones, and this is pretty exciting. Game 1 starting off with a proxy gate of all things.
Yeah, and it's weird because it almost kind of worked a little bit. It was enough economic damage done by Desro that he was able to actually kind of swing ahead a little bit, and Bones was able to really catch up. A couple of bad engagements for Bones, so very unfortunate. This is kind of the rematch, so I do hope that Bones is able to come back in second game so that we can enjoy a third one. Perhaps I'm a bit selfish and I want to see an additional match between these two guys, but it's just so good. And we do see that Desro is going for a very, very fast gate. Of course, chrono boosting out everything just like normal. Likewise, on the other side of the fence, Desro's gate a little bit earlier than Bones's, though. But it looks like he cut a probe in order to get his gate down.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And that's interesting. I'm a little bit curious as to why. It may be an adjustment that Desro has said, you know, this map is kind of big. I won't be able to scout what he's doing. So I'm just going to make an earlier gate to play safe against anything crazy. Because Desro has played this opponent 3 times and won 3 times. So he's feeling confident. He just wants to make sure he doesn't die to anything silly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Cybernetic score going down as well. Quick gas, double pylon in here, so no crazy proxy hijinks or anything like that. And just for the record, guys and girls, Desro down to the bottom right-hand corner remains teamless as it sits right now. A little bit late for the introductions, but may as well get them out of the way. He's actually been on a lot of teams, actually. A lot of people have commented on that, but I guess he's just always trying to find that one for the fit. I should note that Desro has spent some time in Korea. I think he was actually at the GOM TV Foreigner House and spent some time there. And up in the top left-hand corner, of course, is Clarity Gaming's Bones. One of their more prominent figures. Bones, a very, very accomplished and, I guess you could say in the community, is very, very well known as a top-level Protoss. And indeed, he is a Masters-level Protoss. But I got to point out Desro's little probe up in the top right-hand corner of his base.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at that, and I was thinking, this just smells like a 4-gate. I mean, there's 1 gas for Desro. Actually, Bones sees that there's 1 gas, but doesn't see anything else. But I mean, ooh, actually, Bones shoot it away with a Zealot. So no 4-gate with an in-base pylon, but there might be some other pylons coming up.
Yep, and he's following it up with another probe just so he can get that as. And it does look like indeed Desro is going for precisely that. It looks like a 4-gate, and there is the 4th one there. So it is a 4-gate build against Bones. Is Bones prepared? That's the question. Bones lost to early pressure earlier on against Desro with a very similar build. Basically, Desro pushed up the ramp, was able to provide a lot of early game pressure. But Bones, I don't think, is going to be... I think Bones will be able to defend this. He's got 2 sentries on the ramp. He sees the pylon. He knows that something is up. He's going to have to warp in 2 additional sentries. He wants to keep that force field running. He has 1 on the way, but I don't think it's going to make it there in time. It better be like the money force field coming down in a second. Indeed, it is. That should be enough now, I think, for defense for Bones.
Yeah, 3 sentries can indefinitely force field a ramp. It's just if he messes up 1 time, that's all it takes, and now they're on top.
Like now. Like that was that 1 time.
That was it.
Yeah. Done. It's unfortunate. He's going to bring his workers back in, but there's 2 pylons on the high ground. Bones in a lot of trouble here. He's pulled workers to try and kill off these pylons as fast as he can. Yep, he's got a nice force field down on the low ground. Actually, Bones has brought himself right back into it.
Very nice, but that did lose him some workers. 6 workers were killed by Desro, and Desro now says, okay, what next? And it looks like next is probably still a 4-gate.
Yeah, and you know what? Bones has to pay attention to this. He can't. He's putting 100% focus on this ramp. In fact, I almost kind of want to go to his view just for a second here, and it should be. Yep, he's in view 1. But if we watch his view, this is his camera view, and he's using his hotkeys to manage his groups. He's not doing too much else besides watching this particular engagement. He's not changing anything at all. His focus is on making sure that these force fields keep going down on time every time.
Yeah. Desro now saying, okay, so he's probably paying attention more. I'm not going to get another couple of pylons up. And so Desro throws down a 2nd gas, and is going to look to start transitioning. There's 500 mils in the bank for Desro, so probably an expansion.
Yep, it looks like he's going to do precisely that. He's going to throw down that Nexus. I'm also going to keep an eye on the minimap. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry, we're not going to miss a thing. Nexus does go down, and it looks like Desro is just, again, taking his time. He's turned this into a contain. He's not committing any more additional income into this 4-gate unless he can break the force fields. But he knows that he's not going to be able to do precisely that. And, yeah, you can look at the ATM. Bones is running around the 300 mark as it sits right now, 250 to 300. And he's just taking a quick poke, see if he can maybe snipe this pylon. He's not going to be able to. And this is a very interesting play. I mean, just taking a look at the worker count, it's tied though right now. Despite the fact that Bones lost those 6 earlier, he's caught up.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think, robotics bay coming down from Bones. So Bones is probably going to go for a 1-base Colossus push in order to counter this quick expansion of Desro, and I think that favors Desro. Bones is breaking down that pylon in his front, so no more proxy warpins. Desro making a hallucinated Phoenix just to kind of scout out his opponent. And with Desro potentially seeing this robotics bait coming, yeah, now he sees it. I feel like Desro should have this in the bag. That expansion with Photon Overcharge, and hopefully some additional tech of his own. Desro is just now deciding what tech it's going to be, and it is a Stargate. I feel like Desro should be able to hold any push that Bones wants to throw at him.
Yep, and I think actually that Warp Prism that just popped out here for Bones has been sighted by Desro. How he deals with it is going to be additional. Well, he doesn't have anything back in his base to be able to handle it. So this Warp Prism could actually do a bit of damage. It has 4 Zealots inside. There's nothing really there. The bulk of Desro's army is back in his base. And it looks like if Bones is able to kind of keep him there, I guess by baiting him a little bit, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Actually, that Warp Prism is now there, and it is go time. However, that being said, Desro's able to do a warp of his own, and he's going to be able to hold this.
Yeah, that warp in is going to be nice. I would kind of like to see something done about that Warp Prism, because he's just going to... okay, Bones is trying to fake out a Photon Overcharge, it looks like, with that Warp Prism, but he is going to back off. Desro picking off a Zealot, a stray unit of Bones that was out on the map, and try and prevent any proxy pylons from going down. There is one Colossus coming out for Bones, and they're moving across the map to try and contest Desro's expansion. A Void Ray coming out from Desro, which is an excellent choice versus what's coming out of Bones, because there's so many sentries and pretty much actually 0 stalkers.
Yep, absolutely. He doesn't have a whole lot of meat and potatoes to this military, save for the fact that there is a Colossus in the mix. The Immortal is obviously quite nice, and I love this. He's hallucinating in additional units to try and make this army look bigger than it really is. And he's actually going to warp in a couple of actual stalkers into the background. Desro sees this, sees that there's actually 2... to his view, he has 2 Colossus outside of his base, and I'm just actually going to his view for a moment, just so you can see his vision. And yeah, he sees that there's 2 Colossus, and that he's not liking that at all. But I don't think he sees that there's actually a, yeah, the energy remaining on the Stalkers as well. Actually, I think he did see that. Anyway, that's something that we will see in our vision. But that being said, nice quick pickup here by the Warp Prism as well. And he's going to fly on up and be able to do some backdoor harassment at the same time.
This is really interesting. Behind this push by Bones, that hallucinated Colossus was really smart. I think Bones is expanding. They are now... I mean, if this goes into a macro game, Bones is going to be behind. Bones is behind by 10 workers, but there is a little bit of an engagement in the main of Desro. He's trying to pull the army of Desro into the main to deal with the Zealots that are warping in. But a warp in from Desro, a couple Stalkers get picked off, but warp in plus Void Ray to deal with that Warp Prism, and Desro is going to be sitting pretty in the front with the majority of his army. And yeah, I can't help but think that this expansion play from Bones, while it is a good reaction, what he saw where he says, okay, you know what, I can't break my opponent, he's still behind.
He is, actually, and you're absolutely right. He's still continuing to bring in additional hallucinated Colossus, now 3 of them in total. Certainly Desro, he must think that these are in fact hallucinated. Unfortunately, they are targeting the legit one, and it is going to fall. The other 2 and everything else is going to continue on back. A nice warp back here by Bones, saving the rest of his military, but he doesn't have a lot of anything. He's so far behind right now. It's unfortunate. He has even worker count 33 to 35, but he's not been able to mine off that natural for all that long. So his ability to macro out of this is somewhat hindered. And I think it's going to be very difficult for him to be able to get back into this game.
Definitely. Especially with the amount, if you just look at Desro's army, look how many Zealots there are. Those are 16 Zealots. That will do a lot of damage. The force fields are going to be required in order to keep the Zealots off of the main army of Bones, but there's no AoE from Bones to deal with just the sheer amount of numbers that Desro can throw his way. And here we go. Some good force fields there, keeping the majority of Desro's armies back. Void Rays, however, are going to town on the Stalkers, hallucinating more Stalkers in order to cover for the real ones, but there's still not enough anti-air. There's basically just sentries.
Yeah, it's just sentries, and they're starting to take a little bit of damage from the Zealots that are working their way up the ramp. And we do have a pile of Void Rays working away, but that's going to force a GG, and Desro is victorious with a clean sweep 2-0 in this series of 3.
Yeah, and yeah, Desro is really good at capitalizing on that early aggression, making his opponent react in different ways, and any way that his opponent reacts, Desro seems to say, oh, you know what, I actually know the perfect thing to do, I'm just going to do this, and it'll be fine, just boom, I'll expand, and I'll win. And that's really impressive.
Yeah, very, very good play on his part. His ability to be able to maintain constant early aggression while macroing behind is just so good. World class stuff. Certainly worthy of going to the final, and he is going to be continuing on. Bones is knocked out. It will be a rematch again, Desro versus Jig for the final. That being said, though, and like you predicted earlier on, if Jig has got basically 2 opportunities to win this. He loses the first best of 3. He has the second best of 3 to fall back on.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. This is going to be really interesting. And so something should be noted. This is for first and second place. This is what this determines. We're in the grand finals of this qualifier. Desro and Jig have both been given a preferred seed. But Desro is hungry for money, right? Desro has just left Team FXO, North America. He's teamless right now, and so he's going to be looking for tournament validation so that he can go to maybe potentially new teams, sponsored teams that maybe you may be willing to fly him to events, maybe give him a little bit more than his other teams have given him, and say, look, I beat this qualifier. You can see the playlist I played against, and I took first place. I'm a worthwhile investment. This is a big deal for Desro and for Jig.
Yeah, absolutely. And both Grandmaster players, so it's not going to be an easy matchup either. Both of them are capable of taking games off of each other. I think Jig is the only one to take games off of Desro as well. So this is going to be very interesting going into the last match. It's going to be a ZVP. I'm actually pretty excited because you love Zerg. You're Zerg, I guess you could say subject matter expert. It's your preferred race. I'm not a huge Protoss junkie, but certainly I know more about Protoss than Zerg. But it's going to be an interesting match because right now in Heart of the Swarm, they're probably the 2 closest races. And as it's been showing in this tournament, Protoss is the favorite.